Hello, and welcome to Replay Value. Hyouka's second OP, Mikansei Stride, or Incomplete Stride, is well titled for both its placement in the storyline thematically, Houtarou's incomplete transition to a rose-colored life, and in how it foreshadows the events that are going to bring him a little bit closer to that point. I personally prefer the first OP because of my subjective preference in song and the symbolism contained in it. But man, if the second OP doesn't have some great layouts and direction going on to make a beautifully visual, fluid experience. And the track isn't half bad either. Because I'd like the final video in this analysis series to be the final episode of Hyouka, this video is coming out prior to the last 3 episodes in that series. Fortunately for me, though unfortunately for the OP, it doesn't really make any thematic statements about those episodes besides foreshadowing their locations. And thus I feel comfortable talking about it now instead of undermining the emotional ending to both the show and this series. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about Incomplete Stride. We open on Houtarou dozing off, establishing on his face before using his POV to use blurring to establish his struggle to stay awake. As he falls asleep, his unconsciousness ripples away, and bubbles rise up, revealing that Houtarou is dreaming himself underwater. I like to think that he's actually now below the watery surface he was on top of in the first OP, as though his progress was halted by the movie mystery arc and he fell under. We pan up to the sun, see the title card as the white sun overtakes the screen. I cannot for the life of me figure out what the Classics Club is working on in this first shot. I would have assumed that they were working on the anthology, but we can see at the end of the OP both the wildfire plaque and the framed copy of Hyouka. So this OP chronologically has to take place after the festival arc, since neither of those elements were on the back bench until episode 18. It's possible the real-world segments of the OP take place in the future, after the conclusion of the show, and that they're working on their second-year anthology. And that would also explain why Houtarou's dream is the way it is, dreaming about events that have already happened instead of being a mix of past and future. I think that reading is valid, especially when you consider that getting ready for their next festival would likely conjure up memories of the first. But I think I'm also emotionally attached to these characters as first years, and thus I'd rather have no definitive conclusion. We dissolve from white to see that Houtarou's eyes were closed and readjusting because of the brightness, and that he's taken on a sketchy appearance inside the whiteboard of the Wall Newspaper Club. Given that Togaito is in the club room, this scene implies that we're before the festival arc, either before he left the club or as he's helping out only for the festival. If you follow Houtarou's left eye opening up, you'll be positioned on him in the wide shot, same with his right and Togaito. Togaito's drawing of a line almost cuts into Houtarou, who retreats in that same right direction. If you follow that, you'll be on the right side of the classroom, where one of the club members conveniently points to draw our attention back to Houtarou, if his motion didn't do that already. The eye lines all conveniently go towards Houtarou as well, which combined with his banging on the glass is sure to recenter you. That left side is immediately match cut to Irisu, and as she crosses Houtarou's path, we realize that both sides are accounted for due to Houtarou's starting position. If you're centered in the previous shot, you'll likely move to the left because of how the windows are angled and because of the lighting. It's pretty clear that they want you to see Irisu first and move your eyes to spot Houtarou on the right afterwards. That exit right is matched by Kaho's entrance from the right, and her path is opposite Houtarou's, another big eye movement, and also draws him to us naturally as she moves left. We again reverse the exit point, now with the Astronomy Club entering from the left. Houtarou's movement is opposite theirs, which draws your eye to them if you weren't looking at that side initially, perhaps because the 2 girls in the background of this shot caught your eye. And we match cut the Astronomy Club's direction to Kugayama and Tanabe, walking that same angle, in turn leading us to Houtarou on the left. All of that nicely hits a lot of the festival arc. The Wall Newspaper Club, Irisu, Kaho, Astronomy Club, and the Student Council boys are all elements in that arc. And they're on the school grounds, which is where the festival happens. It's especially nice placement since we begin with characters we know, Togaito and Irisu, before transitioning to ones we don't, with the final 2 being the most important for the arc. There's also some double foreshadowing here. Irisu for episode 22, Kaho for episode 20, and the Astronomy Club for episode 21. Speaking of those final 3 episodes, the student council members have a nice gap between them, which we use in the following shot. A lantern over a snowy bridge, which is for episode 21, the shrine for episode 20, and sakura blossoms over a river for 22. That distorted river where the colors are blending so fluidly, flash cutting to the clear blue sky, a red umbrella, and the branches is really stunning. And that also rights Houtarou, who was upside down in the previous shots as his eyes widen. Those colors, the red umbrella, the blue sky, and the green grass from those previous shots, get incorporated to the stars and meteor trails in the next shot. A nice pan from right to left, and the chalky elements bring us right back to the school, and are a nice nod to the astronomy club again. Houtarou continues the direction he started in the pan, pushing left, in the following shot, and whereas no one noticed him before, his clubmates realize he's there almost instantly. Chitanda reaches into the glass to pull him out, ripples appearing as he crosses the threshold, as the reason why he can't say no. Those eyes of hers become the focus. We then return to the real world, Houtarou clearly passed out, as Satoshi and Mayaka take this opportunity to have a bit of fun at his expense. I love the jump cutting on beat here. It's such a fun way to end the OP, and I'll never not laugh at Houtarou chasing them out of the room with Chitanda just sticking her arm out. It's so easy to imagine what her reaction was, what Satoshi and Mayaka said to convince her not to interfere while they did it, and Houtarou yelling after them as he wastes a bit of his precious energy. And maybe that's proof of Houtarou changing alone, as we cut to the namesake of the show before ending the OP. Again, this is a great OP, and I really think captures just how smart the team behind Hyouka was about directing the viewer's attention exactly where it needed to be, and building in backups just in case something else caught the viewer's eye. It's easy to say that things in motion will attract eyesight, but this OP doesn't rely on that, which is important given that there's only so much time to convey everything in 1 minute and 30 seconds. Incomplete Stride's small symbolic references in the form of the ripples are pretty tiny, but what it achieves in terms of foreshadowing both the festival arc through the characters and the final 3 episodes in location are important aspects that should not go unnoticed. All in all, Incomplete Stride is a solid OP, and one that sets up the second half of Hyouka in killer visual style.